Hi everybody, welcome to City Beat. I'm your host Nancy Byrne, and we are coming to you from the Fantasy Forest in Ward 6, Floydland Park at Tule Springs. I'm not wearing a mask because we're in here on a day when the public is not invited to be inside, and when we pack up and leave, they will spray it down and it'll be all clean for visitors over the weekend. We're going to talk more about this forest in just a few moments, but first we start on a very somber note. Our community lost a good friend and visionary. On November 27th, Tony Shea died at the age of 46 from injuries he sustained in a house fire in Connecticut. There are questions as to why we had to lose this incredible man, but there are no questions about what he did for our downtown. He was selfless, creative, he was a visionary, and a decade ago he took our downtown under his wing and improved it for so many people in so many ways.
Mr. Arrett, would Mr. Shea like to say a few words?
It was December 2010 when Tony Shea, CEO of Zappos, stood before Las Vegas City Council just before the vote that would clear the way for the former City Hall to be sold and turned into Zappos headquarters. The exchange between Shea and Mayor Oscar Goodman was a classic display of the quiet yet quick-witted demeanor of the man who was about to have a major role in transforming downtown Las Vegas.
And Mayor, I think you're sitting in my future seat.
In the 10 years that followed, not only was the old City Hall transformed into Zappos headquarters, but Shea would inspire and financially back creative projects in the downtown, like Container Park, Life is Beautiful, Ferguson's, Inspire Theater, restaurants, and so much more. News of him dying from smoke inhalation after being pulled from a fire in a Connecticut mansion hit Las Vegas hard. The love for him was displayed across the downtown in the form of murals, signs, and flowers outside the many establishments he had a hand in developing. Bill Arndt worked with Shea for 10 years in his many ventures downtown.
I really enjoyed working with Tony on a professional level, on a personal level. I'll miss him dearly, and I'm really thankful for his contributions to the city and to our community.
Art says he will remember him not only for the big projects, but for his quest to always be unique and help the smaller dreamers.
The city's core mission is to build community to make life better, and that's really what Tony was all about. Everybody focuses on all the big things that he did, the big investments like with Zappos coming downtown, with Downtown Container Park, but I think the most important thing is people. He really wanted to bring new people into downtown to be part of the community.
Mayor Carolyn Goodman and her husband, our former Mayor Oscar Goodman, didn't just see Shea as a downtown investor. They saw him as a humble man who always tried to do what was best for others, not just himself. She spoke of his graciousness and his quiet generosity at the December 2nd City Council meeting.
And you think of the great burden that he carried because he was so smart and earned such great wealth at such a young age, trying to find a place in life where you can do what you think is the right thing to touch other people. And certainly Tony Shea was one of those souls who was always reaching out and trying to do something better for somebody else.
Mayor Carolyn Goodman said she and her husband knew from the start this was no ordinary man.
His dream was always reaching out for something creative, inspiring, almost artistic. It was not the bricks and mortar, and if I think back all these days of the concrete and bricks that were built by Tony Shea, that wasn't who he was. He was a dreamer, a visionary, trying to create something new for our people.
We all knew from that interaction with Mayor Oscar at the City Council meeting in December of 2010.
And Mayor, I think you're sitting in my future seat.
He looked Oscar Goodman straight in the eye, deadpan, and this was tough to do with Oscar Goodman, and he looked at him deadpan, cold stare. Mayor, I believe you're sitting in my seat.
And the Zappos flash mob dancers who bid farewell to the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem Gary Reese at their final meeting in June of 2011 after being termed out. Tony Shea was not your stereotypical CEO opening up just any brick and mortar headquarters. He was not only going to make life better for downtown Las Vegas, he'd make it just a little more fun. After all, his motto was delivering happiness, and he did just that.
So, Tony, we miss you, and we'll take care of you. We will take care of everything you gave us.
The City of Las Vegas is working with the Downtown Project and Zappos to come up with a way to memorialize Tony Shea somewhere in our downtown area. More information is to come on our city's website as well as all of our social media platforms. We'll be right back.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Buying a new home is possible, even in today's economic climate. Whether you're looking to purchase a new home or are a first-time home buyer, one call can connect you to state and federal funds that may be available to you. Home Again is a free public service that can help you access free state and federal programs. Call 1-855-457-4638 today to speak directly to a HUD-certified housing counselor. A no-fee public service from the Office of the Nevada Attorney General. 1-855-457-4638.
Welcome back to City Beat. We are in the Fantasy Forest at Floyd Lamb Park at Tule Springs, a beautiful Christmas tree display put on by our Ward 6 Council office. We're going to give you all the details on when you can visit and can visit Santa over in the ranch house as well a little bit later on. But most importantly, we want you to know that they are practicing all safety protocols. These are the things that mark the floors, saying candy is sweet, please stay 6 feet. And of course, you got to wear a mask so that you spread joy and not germs. We'll have more details coming up. But first, you know, something that a lot of people don't know is that the city of Las Vegas really doesn't have control over our school district. That's the Clark County School District. But that does not mean that the city doesn't take steps to try to help our kids with their education. One of the ways is through Strong Start schools. We have 3 of them, as well as 2 mobile classrooms that travel around the city, and we just broke ground on a 4th one. You are looking at children getting the tools they need to start on a level playing field with other children when they get into kindergarten. This preschool is not a high-priced, exclusive private learning center. This is a Strong Start school, and it does just exactly what the name says, gives all children a strong start in education.
The city of Las Vegas, like many of those in the educational field, realize the importance of pre-K and early education to children, especially in low-income and underserved areas, is critical to put them on a level playing field when they enter kindergarten.
There are currently 3 Strong Start academies, as well as 2 mobile classrooms, which travel to 2 locations, Lake Mead and J Street, and then Mojave Road and Washington Avenue. Now another brick and mortar Strong Start is going up. It's being constructed near the new East Las Vegas Library, in a zip code where there are large pockets of underserved children when it comes to quality pre-K education.
Well, we are really excited about the new Strong Start Academy at Wardell. It is our first new built pre-K academy. It will be our 4th academy that we are bringing to the community, and this one really ties in to the area. I believe it's going to be transformative with the new library right across the street. It's also going to have a health center built into it, adjacent to the housing that the Housing Authority is building. So really going to provide a strong start for the children in the area. There's lots of schools in the area, and it's going to give those children who need it the most an opportunity to be in pre-K.
This school will be close to 20,000 square feet and will include 10 classrooms, a community meeting room, and outdoor play space. It will serve about 180 children, although that number may be reduced temporarily due to the coronavirus. What's the best part? Well, families that qualify under income guidelines may enroll their children for free. This early education is not just important, it can be the difference between a child succeeding or feeling behind before they even get a chance to get started.
In the state of Nevada, we have a Read by Grade 3 initiative. There's an expectation that all children read by grade 3. Children who haven't had a formal preschool education, it's going to be really tough to get that done in 3 years. Under good circumstances. And now if you bring in any kind of a barrier on top of that, a learning disability, a student who doesn't speak English, a student who hasn't had access to books in the home, those kinds of things then magnify that even more so.
And what makes this even more exciting is that it will be a full-service project, which will include a health clinic.
The other, though, exciting thing about Wardell that is very unique is that it will be kind of a full-service location where affordable housing has gone in, and there's a health center coming online as part of this. There's the new East Las Vegas Library, which is a fabulous library and opportunity for families. So it's that community space that we are very excited that is unique to Wardell that not all of our facilities have.
The City of Las Vegas is bringing this important early education to areas in need so that no child enters kindergarten feeling as though they are behind classmates before they even get started.
We know that there is no greater equalizer than a strong education, and I think that having a strong foundation for our children is a must-have as a mom, as a teacher, and as a councilwoman who wants to see her children be successful in our schools. High-quality pre-K is of utmost importance.
This $9.8 million project is expected to be up and running by August of 2021. As we mentioned earlier, we're in the Fantasy Forest, which is at Floydland Park at Tule Springs. Anyone who comes to this park knows there is plenty of wildlife from peacocks to bunny rabbits. But now, even though it's fun to see the animals, it is illegal to feed them. Sue Levitt tells us why it is so important to follow this new ordinance.
Our city parks have been filling up with visitors, especially since the pandemic has forced many to get outside and enjoy our gorgeous weather a little more. And here at Lorenzi Park, there are many beautiful ducks and geese that call this park their home. And while you might think you're helping by bringing the animals food, feeding the birds is causing a lot more harm than good.
It's not so much the little kids with the bread, but there's people giving pizzas out to the animals, and then what happens is it attracts more, and then the population gets so large that it's hard for us to manage, and becomes a public health concern in our park system.
While the animals love the bread and all the snack food, it's just not good for them. They end up filling up on junk and then don't eat their natural food source.
They're grazers. So they'll graze on grass, and they'll find other areas, and if they have wings, so they will fly and find food somewhere else. It's okay, they're going to live, they're going to be okay if we don't feed them.
Another problem with feeding the birds, geese, and ducks, they will end up not migrating, but will stay and expect to get fed regularly. Then the population grows. 50 geese are manageable, but when we have 500 each producing a pound of excrement a day, this creates a lot of waste to clean up.
When you have 500 geese, overtaking certain areas, there's pavilions and open space that are desperately needed by the public, but we're not able to use those areas anymore because of the overpopulation of waterfowl.
The ban on feeding the animals is more of an educational campaign than an opportunity to write citations. Signs have been placed in the parks explaining why the ordinance is in place.
I think that's a pretty good ordinance. I think that for it to be passed is a good thing. And I think that people should abide by the ordinance, so we can kind of depopulate all the waterfowl and things like that. I think it's a good idea.
I'm thankful that people are loving the park so much during this pandemic. We encourage you to come out and enjoy the parks. Just please don't feed the wildlife and don't leave your garbage behind.
For City Beat, I'm Sue Levitt.
Thank you, Sue Levitt, for that story. Now, Sue tells us that we are dealing with yet another problem at some of our parks, and that is illegal dumping. Our dumpsters are overflowing with garbage from outside the parks. You can see from the video and the photos that we're showing you the problem this creates. We want to remind you that there's a right place to dump your washers, dryers, mattresses, and other household items, and it's not in the dumpsters of public parks. You should take your larger items to the dump. Please respect our beautiful parks so we can enjoy them together. We rely on our parks, open spaces, and trails all the time, but this past year, well, we really relied on them to get outside, escape our homes, get some exercise, wear out the kids. So our Parks and Rec department worked really hard to make sure that our parks were clean and safe, but that's not all they did. They really thought outside the box to serve our residents in many different ways. Here's a quick snapshot of our Parks and Rec department 2020. We are going to take a quick break, but when we come back to some holiday cheer with a greeting from our mayor, Carolyn Goodman, as well as some more Christmas lights.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
Our family is no less than any other family.
My heart doesn't see race.
Love is love.
Welcome back to City Beat at the Fantasy Forest at Floyd Lamb Park at Tule Springs, courtesy of Ward 6. You know, we're doing a lot more cooking at home these days, not just because of the pandemic, but because it's the holidays. Sue Levitt recently sat down with Las Vegas Fire and Rescue for some safety tips on how to make sure your holiday celebration literally doesn't go up in smoke.
The leading cause of fires in the home is unattended cooking. So if you are cooking for Thanksgiving, make sure you stay in the kitchen when you're doing any kind of cooking, frying, baking, grilling, anything with open flame. Also, keep a lid nearby when you're cooking in case you have a grease fire. You never want to put water on grease or oil. If you do have a small fire, slide the lid over the pot or the skillet and turn the burner off, and then leave it completely covered until it's cool. And then keep anything that can catch on fire away from the stovetop, towels, hot pad holders, stuff like that. Also, make sure that your clothing is not hanging down off of your sleeves or you have a loose sweater. So that way, if you lean over the stove, maybe to get to a pot in the back, you don't actually catch your clothing on fire also.
And it seems like, you know, when you say stay in the kitchen while you're cooking, that seems like, okay, that's common sense. But especially around Thanksgiving time, we're being told to keep our celebrations very small, but
yes,
people will still have family over, and it's very easy. I know it's happened to me. The doorbell will ring, and I've got something cooking, and it's very easy to get distracted. And so I think that's a very important reminder, even though it does seem like common sense.
Yes. If you do need to step away from the stove, even for, a couple seconds to answer the door, turn the flame off or the heat source off underneath it. And then when you come back, you can always restart it again. Another thing with holidays is people are celebrating and they can get distracted with alcohol and whatnot. So if you are going to be cooking, maybe save the celebrations until after all the cooking is completely done and you're able to, sit down at the table and enjoy it with your family that way.
Okay, how about some more holiday cheer? Recently, I decided to take a stroll around my neighborhood to not only work off some Thanksgiving calories, but to take in the beautiful lights. As I stopped by some of my neighbors' houses, I noticed that they not only did it early this year, but they really went big. They told me things like, well, we're home a lot, so we might as well decorate, or we just want something to be happy about after this challenging year. Whatever the reasons, it made me smile, so I took some pictures, and I hope it has the same effect on you. Every year, right around this time, we head on up to Mayor Carolyn Goodman's office for a holiday and New Year greeting. This year, slightly different. We decided it was best to keep our distance at a time when there's usually hugs and a sit-down chat. But we thought it was really important for her to deliver this message this year. It's been a challenging year and a time when we look to city leaders like Mayor Goodman for words of comfort and optimism.
Come in.
Hey Mayor, how's it going?
Hey Eric, how are you?
Real good. Are you ready to do the holiday message this year?
Am I ever?
Awesome. Just give me a few seconds. Let me get everything set up here, okay?
Great.
Excellent. Whenever you want to go, I'm ready.
Wow, it's already December, and we're getting ready for Kwanzaa and Hanukkah and Christmas and so many holidays. And it really is a time for us to be sure that we acknowledge everybody and tell them how grateful we are, because we've been in a tough year now. But it is time to celebrate, it's time to thank each other, and it's time to plan for a new year. But I wish every single one of you the happiest of holiday seasons, and know how grateful the city council and I am for everything you've been doing to make our lives every day richer and happier and safer and more healthy. So have a wonderful holiday season. Wear your mask, keep your social distance, wash your hands, but it's holiday time. Merry Christmas.
And of course, we wish only the best for all of our city leaders and all of our residents. Well, we've been here in the Fantasy Forest at Floydland Park at Tule Springs in Ward 6, courtesy of your Ward 6 Council office. You can visit here every Saturday and Sunday through December 20th, and you can also stop in the ranch house and visit Santa Claus. All safety protocols are being met, including masks and social distancing. As we say goodbye, we wish you the best holidays, and we'll show you just a few more of the trees.